Imagine a man who can bend reality with a single facial expression, who turns every moment into a performance, and whose laughter is contagious enough to make the world stop. That man is Jim Carrey, the king of chaos, comedy, and pure imagination. Jim Carrey doesn't just tell jokes, he becomes them. His comedy isn't merely performed. It's a full-body, heart-and-soul experience, a kinetic whirlwind of expressions, gestures, and timing that few in Hollywood have ever mastered. By the late 1990s, Carrey had already transformed from a stand-up comedian in Toronto and New York into a global superstar, thanks to his breakout roles in Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, 1994, The Mask, 1994, and Dumb and Dumber, 1994, which collectively grossed over $500 million worldwide. When he arrived at the 1999 MTV Movie Awards, he didn't just walk onto the stage. He crashed it like a hippie biker from another dimension, instantly seizing the spotlight with an acceptance speech so unhinged it has since become legendary. "I'd like to thank all the ladies," he announced, eyes scanning the audience with electrifying energy. "You're all dressed so beautifully tonight. There's some truly fine-looking company in this room, I'll tell you that much. Yo, yo, yo." Jay Carr and Iggy Azalea are dropping rhymes and jokes right here. Only Jim Carrey could barge into a 50-cent performance and have the rapper himself laughing uncontrollably, a rare feat at a ceremony attended by over 6,000 people, broadcast live to millions worldwide. In that charged, crowded venue, he was unstoppable. If you need to have a sex come down, who are you? Are you? Yes, he is. You're the one, my mother, he's the one. You're on camera, I'm sorry. His words tumbled out like a whirlwind, leaving chaos, laughter, and astonishment in their wake, cementing his reputation as one of the most unpredictable and magnetic comedic performers of his generation. Whenever Jim Carrey enters a room, composure simply doesn't stand a chance. His energy is magnetic, chaotic, and utterly infectious, a force that bends the atmosphere around him. "If I were a boxer, I'd bounce those things like Sugar Ray Leonard." Sorry, he once quipped, effortlessly blending physical comedy with absurd improvisation. Carrey's mastery of the body as a comedic instrument was no accident. Years of stand-up in Toronto's comedy clubs and New York's iconic Improv had honed him into a performer capable of turning even the simplest interaction into pure theatrical chaos. On In Living Color, the groundbreaking sketch comedy show that ran from 1990 to 1994 and launched the careers of stars like Jamie Foxx, Tommy Davidson, and the Wayans family, Carrey's unpredictability reached legendary status. During one scene, he stared Tommy Davidson dead in the eye and delivered a line so wildly inappropriate and hilariously surreal that the entire cast collapsed in laughter. "I don't feel attractive anymore. That's how I feel. But you. You're very attractive, man. And your butt, it's nice, man. And your skin, so smooth. I'd like to lick it right now." The moment has since become an emblem of Carrey's fearless comedic style. Intimate, outrageous, and entirely in the moment, a combination that few performers in television history have ever achieved. And of course, there's Jim Carrey's unabashed love for iconic legends like Jack Nicholson, whose influence on his comedic timing and expressive range is evident in almost every performance. At one event, Carrey quipped in his signature chaotic style, "I can't believe I ate the whole thing," a line delivered with the perfect blend of absurdity and timing that only he could pull off. But it's not just his words. His mastery of facial expression is unparalleled. When he transformed into the Grinch for How the Grinch Stole Christmas, 2000, many assumed the character's contorted expressions were entirely prosthetic or digital. Audiences and critics alike were stunned to learn that Carrey could manipulate every muscle in his face with surgical precision, bringing the animated villain to life in ways no one had ever seen. The proof came outside the studio in public interactions. A little kid dressed in full Grinch costume approached him on the street. Carrey's parents whispered to the child, "You know who that is, right? That's the Grinch." Carrey's eyes sparkled with mischievous glee. "I must find a way to stop Christmas from coming." He bellowed, perfectly in character. The child froze, parents blinking in disbelief, unsure if the encounter was staged, a prank, or real. Moments like these exemplify Carrey's genius, a performer who blurs the line between acting and reality, turning even a brief street interaction into an unforgettable spectacle. Jim Carrey's energy is nothing short of unstoppable, an unstoppable force that seems to bend time and space around him. At one event, with his signature grin and manic gleam, he exclaimed, "Let's go way back. I've been bitten by Roberto Benigni, he Jew. Imped into my ocean." It was the kind of chaotic, unpredictable humor that only Carrey could pull off, blending absurdity with infectious charisma. Truly, there will never be another performer like him. At the American Film Institute's Life Achievement Award ceremony, Carrey had the audience roaring with laughter and applause, effortlessly commanding a room filled with Hollywood royalty. "At first, I was nervous, unsure what to expect," he recalled, "but she was open, willing to learn." His storytelling was both personal and theatrical, a delicate dance of humility and outrageous humor. Carrey's brilliance shines brightest on set, where his improvisational instincts and fearless physicality turn every moment into comedy gold. Recalling a particularly wild shoot, he told Meryl, "Remember when you were hamming it up, eating the scenery? I said, 'Meryl, less is more.'" But he didn't stop there. With impeccable timing and uncanny mimicry, he delivered spot-on impressions of legends like Dario and Bruce, performing directly in front of them and leaving both cast and crew in stitches. It was a masterclass in comedic precision, the perfect blend of respect, absurdity, and untamed brilliance, proof that Carrey's genius isn't just in his jokes, but in the way he inhabits every single moment with unparalleled energy and creativity. Jim Carrey's energy is nothing short of legendary, an unstoppable force of physicality and imagination that has defined his work for more than 3 decades. By the time he uttered the line, "Let's go way back, I've been bitten by Roberto Benigni, he jumped into my ocean," he was already one of Hollywood's most dynamic performers. Carrey's career had transformed from stand-up comedy clubs in Canada and New York to sketch comedy on In Living Color, and ultimately to blockbuster films that grossed over $2.4 billion worldwide by the late 1990s alone. His presence is unmistakable. There will truly never be another Jim Carrey, a statement underlined most memorably at the American Film Institute's Life Achievement Award ceremony in 2020, where he became one of the youngest recipients in the honor's history. In a room filled with Hollywood luminaries and decades of cinematic achievement, Carrey had the audience laughing and applauding in equal measure. "At first I was nervous, unsure what to expect," he admitted, his voice blending humility with comedic flair. "But she was open, willing to learn." That blend of self-deprecation and joy is a hallmark of Carrey's comedic philosophy, giving audiences permission to laugh at life and at himself. Carrey's commitment to character is as meticulous as it is wild. On film sets, directors and co-stars alike knew to expect the unexpected. Recalling one particularly chaotic day with actor and comedian Meryl, Carrey said with a grin, "Remember when you were hamming it up, eating the scenery? I said, 'Meryl, less is more.'" But less was never really the point with Carrey. With surgical precision and unmatched comic timing, he would deliver impressions of legends like Danny DeVito and Bruce Dern right in front of them, leaving cast, crew, and audience alike in stitches. His ability to impersonate, from voices to gestures to minute facial tics, is so exacting that directors have often captured hours of unscripted material that later became iconic moments in his films. These aren't just funny stories. They reflect a performer whose creativity helped reshape modern comedy. With more than 30 major film credits, multiple Golden Globe nominations, and a global fan base numbering in the hundreds of millions, Jim Carrey has redefined what it means to be funny, not just by telling jokes, but by living them, breathing them, and turning even the wildest off-the-cuff moments into cinematic comedy gold. Jim Carrey's talent for impersonation didn't just make people laugh, it turned moments into instant comedy classics. His ability to mimic voices, mannerisms, and absurd characters became a signature part of his comedic identity early in his career. Whether he was riffing off a mobster's exaggerated accent with a mock Italian spicy meatball, or playfully mocking pop culture catchphrases like Bruce Bruce, possibly a playful reference to shock jock Howard Stern, shouting "Where's the beef?" Carrey's exaggerated riffs were never just impressions, they were performances in their own right. In one improvised outburst he screamed, "Give me the beef or I'll crack your head open." A line so over the top it had the audience roaring with laughter, cementing it as a fan favorite moment that people still quote years later. Carrey's influence was so widespread that Saturday Night Live, the longest-running sketch comedy show in American television history, once dedicated an entire sketch to reenacting his most iconic roles in tribute. This was a rare honor. SNL typically reserves such moments for cultural phenomena whose characters have transcended their original films to become part of the national comic lexicon. And Jim didn't make it easy to impersonate either. His characters were larger than life, from the exuberant pet detective Ace Ventura to the manic bank robber in The Mask and the philosophical Grinch who stole Christmas. In one unforgettable live moment, Carrey embodied his own unique brand of chaos and joy with the exclamation, "Somebody stop me. It's party time, P-A-R-T-Y," delivered with such manic energy that the audience was left in hysterics. That catchphrase later became shorthand for Carrey's particular comic intensity, a rallying cry for characters and fans alike who lived on the wild side of humor. Over the course of his career, Carrey's movies have collectively grossed billions worldwide, and those iconic lines and performances have echoed far beyond the theater. From fan conventions to late-night talk shows to memes that have spread across the internet, Jim Carrey's legendary impersonations remain some of the most recognizable and celebrated moments in modern comedy. Jim Carrey's comedic instinct is truly unmatched. He doesn't just act, he transforms every interview, every appearance, every fleeting moment into a fully realized performance. "She actually stole, look at this. I can do anything with it. Working, not working, they got you coming and going, man. You try, you give it all," he once exclaimed, perfectly capturing the unpredictable, high-octane energy that defines his work. His creativity is spontaneous yet precise, a combination that has earned him a reputation as one of the most fearless performers in modern comedy. Carrey's dedication to physical comedy is legendary. In Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, 1994, one of his most iconic films that grossed over $107 million worldwide on a $15 million budget, a now-famous moment occurred entirely unscripted. When he slammed his head into the car seat during a frantic scene, the action wasn't planned, but it perfectly captured the manic energy and fearless abandon that became his trademark. This is emblematic of Carrey's style. He doesn't just inhabit a character, he becomes the character, using his body, voice, and expressions to push comedy to its physical and emotional extremes. From wild improvisation on set to the meticulous craft of facial contortions in The Mask, 1994, which earned him a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical, Carrey's performances are a masterclass in timing, creativity, and pure audacity. He doesn't just make people laugh, he leaves them in awe of the sheer intensity, commitment, and inventiveness he brings to every scene. At award shows, Jim Carrey's energy is nothing short of unstoppable. He doesn't just give speeches, he turns them into full-blown performances that blur the line between ceremony and comedy. During one memorable acceptance, he began with a traditional "thank you." "I'd like to thank Tom Shadyac, everyone at Universal, Jimmy Miller, Eric Gold, Nick Stevens, John Rigney, Linda Fields, my daughter Jane. Where's Jane? Oh, there she is." But true to form, the moment quickly dissolved into joyful chaos, as Carrey abandoned convention entirely, twisting the standard award show script into a showcase of spontaneity, absurdity, and sheer charisma. Carrey's commitment to character is almost supernatural. Whether on stage, in interviews, or during impromptu sketches, he inhabits roles so fully that they seem to leap off the page and into reality. At one event, he impersonated a fictional world-famous bodybuilder named Vera Zemillo, declaring, "Hi, I'm Vera Zemillo. A woman like me gives off special scents, especially after an afternoon of deep power squats." The audience erupted with laughter as Carrey blended absurd physical comedy, impeccable timing, and an uncanny attention to detail, transforming a simple joke into a fully realized persona. Moments like these aren't just funny, they're demonstrations of why Jim Carrey has been nominated for 2 Golden Globes, won numerous MTV Movie Awards, and captivated global audiences for over 3 decades. His ability to take even the most mundane scenario and turn it into a wild, unforgettable spectacle proves that, for Carrey, the stage and the world is always his playground. In interviews, Jim Carrey is a force of nature, simultaneously sharp, philosophical, and utterly unpredictable. Every answer is part performance, part meditation, blending absurdity with insight in a way that few performers can match. Reflecting on existence with his signature mix of humor and profundity, he once mused, "Whether I answer right or wrong, free will is an illusion. Life plays us." The remark, delivered with a glint in his eye, perfectly encapsulates his ability to turn even abstract ideas into comedic moments that linger in the mind. Carrey's genius shines brightest when he confronts the mundane and flips it on its head. Asked a simple question about working with animals, a topic central to his breakout role in Ace v. Ventura, Pet Detective 1994, which grossed over $107 million worldwide, he shot back with perfect deadpan humor. "Do you like working with them? That's the stupidest question I've ever heard. If I didn't, do you think I'd say yes?" In that instant, a routine interview became a showcase of improvisational brilliance, a reminder that Carrey's comedy thrives in real time. He's equally fearless when it comes to self-deprecation and bodily humor, never shying away from the grotesque or awkward aspects of being human. "Why am I growing a beard and still shaving my balls? Balance, man. If I ever shave my face again, you'll know where it went," he joked, blending absurd imagery with a philosophical undercurrent. Moments like these highlight the essence of Jim Carrey, a performer who refuses to take himself too seriously, yet somehow elevates every quip into a spectacle of timing, imagination, and sheer comedic audacity. Jim Carrey talks about life with a blend of humor, honesty, and self-awareness that few entertainers can match, a quality that has helped him remain a beloved figure in global pop culture for more than 3 decades. In interviews and on stage, he often reflects on life's absurdities in ways that make audiences both laugh and think. At one appearance, he quipped, "I'm a granddad, but don't call me grandpa. Every time he does, I feel a little older." That line, playful and self-deprecating, highlights Carrey's ability to take an everyday moment and elevate it into a universal laugh, something that resonates with fans across generations. Carrey's physicality, honed through years of live performance, sketch comedy, and physical roles, is one of the defining features of his craft. From Ace Ventura, Pet Detective 1994, which grossed over $107 million worldwide on a modest $15 million budget, to The Mask, 1994, which became the first film starring a single comedian to earn over $350 million globally. Carrey's career has been built on his uncanny ability to use his body as a comedic instrument. That blend of physical humor and expressive movement was acknowledged when The Mask earned him a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actor, Comedy or Musical, a rare feat for a role so wildly unpredictable. Even in casual banter, Carrey's imagination explodes off the page. "If I tire of this body," he once joked, "I can just slip into Sammy Davis Jr.'s." A line delivered with such fearless absurdity that it left audiences in stitches. His willingness to toy with identity, performance, and transformation reflects not just his comedic instincts but his broader artistic philosophy. That performance is a living, breathing thing, constantly evolving. Carrey's unpredictability doesn't end with jokes about aging or physical absurdity. It often expands into flights of cosmic imagination. In a spontaneous moment on live television with Ellen DeGeneres, he shouted, "Come on, Ellen. Take us up. Take us all the way to the Cran Nebula." A declaration that perfectly encapsulates his blend of whimsical absurdity and boundless creativity. It's this unique combination of philosophical playfulness, physical mastery, and fearless improvisation that has made Carrey one of the most influential comedians in history. With over $3 billion in box office receipts worldwide, multiple award nominations, and an enduring legacy that continues to inspire both audiences and fellow performers alike. From The Mask to Liar Liar, from awards shows to street encounters, Jim Carrey has redefined comedy for over 30 years, earning 2 Golden Globe wins, dozens of nominations, and billions in global box office earnings. He doesn't just make us laugh, he makes us see the world differently. So the next time someone asks, "Who's the king of comedy?" remember, it's the man who turns reality into a playground, the man who taught us that laughter isn't just entertainment, it's magic.